Tensions continue to surge along the Lebanon-Israel border, where a fragile ceasefire coexists with continued military strikes, warnings of escalation, political divisions, and deep uncertainty over the future course of this conflict. This comes as Hezbollah rejects the peace talks and vows to confront Israel at all fronts. Remember, Hezbollah has rejected Lebanon's push towards direct talks with Israel. Hezbollah leader Naim Qassem calls it a grave sin and warned that it could destabilize the country further. The Iran-backed military group has laid out 5 core conditions for peace. Let's tell you about them. They want Israel to stop the aggression via land, sea, or air. They demand IDF's full withdrawal from all occupied territories, the release of all prisoners, the return of displaced people to their regions, and the reconstruction of war-damaged areas. Now, Qassem's comments and demands come at a moment of increasing political and military activity inside Lebanon. Lebanese President Joseph Aoun, meanwhile, has taken a very different line. Responding sharply to Hezbollah's statement, he defended diplomatic engagements with Israel as necessary to end the conflict. In fact, he's accused Hezbollah indirectly, saying that those who have dragged Lebanon into this war have committed a treason. Meanwhile, Israeli Defense Minister Israel Katz has warned that Hezbollah's defiance would bring catastrophic consequences for Lebanon. The situation on the ground remains fragile and volatile. Remember, the Israeli military began strikes on Hezbollah infrastructure in Lebanon's Bekaa Valley and other southern areas. The IDF said the operations targeted military-related sites. Military activities have intensified as well along Israel's northern frontier. Army vehicles and tank convoys were seen near the border. The deployment, remember, comes after Israel remains on a high alert following warnings of a hostile aircraft in the region. Heavy smoke continued to billow from southern Lebanon. This was seen from the Israeli side of the border, where fighting between Israel and Hezbollah continues. This also comes after both sides accused each other of breaching the fragile truce. Evacuation orders have been issued for several towns north of the Litani River, which fall outside the designated buffer zone, but they're now being treated as active operational areas. This yellow line, which is a buffer zone, extends roughly 10 kilometers into the Lebanese territory. It remains under Israeli military control, with residents warned not to return to their homes. The human toll of this continuing conflict has been growing as well. Just a day before the latest developments, Lebanon's health ministry reported that 14 people were killed in Israeli strikes in the south. It marked the deadliest day since the recent ceasefire began. An Israeli soldier was killed, in fact, as a military helicopter sent to airlift wounded troops that was targeted after Hezbollah fighters launched a drone strike against Israeli forces. Prime Minister Netanyahu also paid his condolences. The conflict has now taken a heavy toll, with more than 2,500 people who've been killed and over 7,700 wounded in Lebanon since it began. The United Nations peacekeeping force has confirmed the death of an Indonesian peacekeeper in a recent blast, with a preliminary UN probe indicating an Israeli tank shell as the cause. Lebanon now finds itself divided between diplomatic engagement and armed resistance, with the government pushing towards negotiation and Hezbollah flatly rejecting any direct contact with Israel. As both sides entrench their positions,